Alright, I got a couple of comments from a girl whose screen name is Lilmiss Harber in response to a video in which I did nothing more than present a strategy designed to facilitate fast twitch fiber stimulation. And I want to address them real quick because they illustrate to me that some or all of what I said was either fully misunderstood or misinterpreted to some degree. So I want to take a moment to kind of just clarify my stance on some things. Now, for those interested in that video with that strategy, I'll put a link in the description below. Now, the first point that I want to address, she said, regardless of what is stimulating AMPK, the pathway doesn't always lead to catabolism, as if what is stimulating AMPK doesn't matter. Just because stimulating AMPK doesn't always lead to catabolism doesn't mean that the way you went about doing that is not important to understand. Because if the work that you did resulted in a massive cortisol dump, excessive glycogen depletion, excessively damaged the muscles, which retards growth by way of reducing muscle insulin sensitivity, how is that not important? You got to take that into consideration. So I wanted to touch on that real quick. Now, the next point was, she said, it's not fair to sum up hypertrophy or lack thereof to glycogen depletion spurs AMPK to phosphorylate mTOR, therefore blunting any anabolic response. And I want to say, I agree. It's not fair to sum up hypertrophy that way. I never have. I never will. So I'm not sure what the point in writing that was. Now, the next comment comes in response to somebody else's comment. She says that I am only addressing 0.01% of the whole hypertrophic puzzle, which is interesting to me because I didn't even think I was trying to address the hypertrophic puzzle. I was presenting a strategy so people could channel their efforts to promote a very specific response. If you're able to draw parallels to your perception or interpretation of the hypertrophic puzzle, that's great, but I wasn't even trying to do that. Now, much of what she wrote was a self-admitted ramble. She said she could just go on, and she did, talking about different ways to promote growth, all of which I've talked about in different videos, but there's one more point I kind of want to shine some light on. She said that powerlifters are the general group that doesn't place an importance on eccentrics. The only goal is to lift the weight, and slowing down the eccentric phase only makes that harder. Does it? Because that illustrates to me that she either A, doesn't know anything about powerlifting, or B, possibly meant to say Olympic lifters and weightlifters, since the lifts that they do are generally thought to be concentric only, even though they do involve a rather forceful and rapid eccentric contraction during the catching phase of those lifts. Power lifters, as she defined as dudes in conventional gyms, the reason it would be beneficial for them to slowly lower the weight is because they have to pause at the bottom before reversing the movement. If they didn't have to pause at the bottom, then an argument could be made that lowering the weight faster would be to their advantage because they could take advantage of the stretch shortening capacities of the body. But because they have to pause at the bottom, they don't get to take advantage of that. So lowering the weight more rapidly only increases the mass to overcome. Why would they want to make the weight feel heavier than it actually is? Also worth noting, stability is a prerequisite to force production. The more stable you are, the more force you can produce. The slower you go, you're demonstrating that you're more stable. The faster you go, you could be stable, but you could lose stability easier. And if you lose stability and alignment, you're going to burn energy trying to realign yourself under the bar, which is not only dangerous, but you're wasting energy that could have been used to overcome the resistance. Now, other than that, she had some very positive information to share, so I'm very appreciative and grateful for that, even though it was completely out of context. She ended by saying, quote, I don't know it all, and I'm not here to try to give the impression that I do. And I just want to say I wholeheartedly agree with her assessment of herself based on her lengthy, out-of-context comment. Now, whether you like this or not, whether you share this or not, whether you click the fucking button at the bottom of the screen that you're looking at, subscribe to the channel, and support me or not, ain't nothing going to stop me from continuing. I say continuing because I've been continuing to provide the absolute best, because I'm only concerned with the best, information that you're ever going to find in your fucking lifetime. Try to find better. I challenge you. You won't, and I can say that with supreme confidence. Information as it relates to training, because that's all I care to talk about, to build muscle, get stronger, lose fat, look better, perform better, all that fucking shit. Ain't nothing going to stop me from continuing to try to empower as many people as humanly possible for free. And if you can't respect that, your whole perspective is whack.